What's going on, guys? Matt here from DCLblogger.com. I wanted to go through a couple of really big announcements that came out of some celebrity investors into some well-known projects. Super Rare and Super Rare raises $9 million to build the future of art collecting. Makers Dapple Labs gets $305 million in funding. Holy shit. To continue building out their platform. So what does this kind of mean for the industry? You know, the industry and the NFT industry started in 2017 with people literally buying cat pictures and CryptoPunks. And the validation there was that, people were spending thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars back then in 2017. And a lot of this was fueled by the cryptocurrency market experiencing a massive increase in value. You know, Bitcoin went from like $1,000 to $20,000. Ethereum went from like $50 to $1,400, and people suddenly were sitting on these gold mines that just didn't know what to do with it. And a similar thing is happening now with cryptocurrency is going up astronomically. Some people's wealth has gone 10 to 20x, and suddenly they're just like, well, okay, where do I spend this money? So NFTs have come, staring them in the face, and it's become a very fun place to experiment with. So Super Rare goes on to raise $9 million in funding. The people that have the funds and the angels or the investors that have invested in these are the Lau, Samsung Next, Ashton Kutcher, Sound Ventures, Andrew Stanwell, Scott Belsky, Mark Cuban, Mark Benioff, Naval, and Chamath. Now, we heard Chamath say that he's investing in art. Mark Cuban's pretty much just getting a stake of everything because he's a smart guy. He's probably just getting a stake of everything. But what does this mean for the industry? What it is going to mean is that at some point, these guys are going to release their thesis or like their blog post and support the NFT market, right? They're going to probably purchase a big gallery. I know Chamath himself is purchasing quite a lot of art, and he's going to kind of use that as a use case and try and increase through their network, their kind of social power, trying to increase the industry and therefore their investment, right? That's what kind of larger investors do. They see these buzzing industries, they dive in, they get a stake into basically everything they can get a stake into, and then kind of push it out there. So as for the industry as a whole, it's probably going to mean the next phase of insane growth for everything here. Now, what is interesting to me is, the crypto market, we've seen like $1 million sales, $5 million sales, $6 million to $70 million sales. In each case, in fact, in almost every, if not every case, these were cryptocurrency investors. So these are people who had strong crypto buy power and therefore purchased it. What is yet to be seen is if traditional investors will compete at that level, will spend at that level. If they do, it validates the market as a whole. If they don't, it's still okay because the crypto investor market is pretty huge anyway, and it looks like it's only going to go up from here. It could go up from here. It could go down from here, but I guess everyone's kind of predicting it to continue to rise, cryptocurrencies in general. And NBA Top Shot saw $305 million in funding led by investors. Okay, not led by, but investors Michael Jordan, Kevin Durant. Who else is here? Ashton Kutcher again, Shawn Mendes, Will Smith. I don't know how that happened. That's cool. At some stage, these guys are going to start talking about NFTs. And this is what mainstream looks like, right? The thing is, like, so many people have become quite wealthy from YouTube. YouTubers have become wealthy. Musicians have become wealthy. Actors and influencers have become wealthier. They're becoming investors into these new spaces, because what they're realizing is that their influence can pretty much bring eyeballs to a market by them getting involved. But before they do that, why not invest? So that's what these guys are doing, kind of purchasing a lot of stakes in all of these. But it's pretty cool to think, like, for me, it's always like, all right, so what's the next stage? The NFT space goes through hype cycles. We saw a hype cycle in September. We saw a hype cycle in recently, March with the Beeple thing. Okay, so what's next? How do we get bigger from there? How do we become sustainable? How do we break out of these cycles of hype and become something that's sustainable, here to stay, that's growing at an organic pace? And it's, for me, when I read names like Will Smith, Shawn Mendes, Mark Cuban getting involved now, I know what they're going to do is continue to build a use case for this space as a whole and innovate on the NFT technology. So some words on just like what this kind of looks like. Ballooning NFT prices have caught the attention of people from art collectors. Some analysts see a speculative frenzy and warn that buyers can suffer rapid losses. True. I think if you're a buyer in this space, in this market, and you're purchasing what you think looks cool, and you're kind of getting caught up in the hype, and there is a lot of hype, you will lose money. Traditionally, that's what's happened, because you would probably have noticed by now that something pops up, becomes really big and great. Like, for example, if you go to OpenSea rankings, and we look at the categories, it's interesting to see what's kind of coming back up. Like, for example, I had never even heard of Chubbies over the last week. I had never heard of Pokemon. Hashmarks is an old one. We're starting to see Picasso punks, 3D punks. Where are these going to be in 3 to 6 months? Are they going to hold their value? Like, why would they hold their value if there's like 50 to 100 different punk variations? I would see the originals holding value. Curio cards kind of made its thing and is dropping a little bit. We're seeing things pop up, pop back down, and then what's next? Yeah. So it is what Ether Cards founder. What is this? 90 Ethereum down 86%. What even was this? That means it hit 1,000 Ethereum. I don't even know what's going on anymore. The top 10 used to be like recognized projects, but half of them are still recognized. What's interesting to me is some of these projects that have been top 10 for 3 years have continued to stay top 10. So Super Rare is a big one. CryptoPunks is also a big one, but that wasn't top 10 for like the first 2 years, but it's still relevant now. So props to them. The Sandbox, Maker's Place, Somnium Space. So there's something special here. So I would start with researching the top 10, 20. But anyway, what I wanted to get through was just that the NFT space is going to see another wave, and probably pushed out by celebrities in terms of what NFTs are, what they can do. Right now they're art, but as we kind of go into virtual land, which I think is going to be a big part of the next phase as well. I think people are starting to realize that they have all these art collections. How do we experiment with that? Especially with those art collections going up in value. Why not buy a land? Why not spend 5 to 10K to build a gallery and some experiences and some meetups and experiment with all kinds of things to build more eyeballs to your art and kind of play around with what virtual land can do. So I think that's going to be the next phase. But just some comments on what the next phase is going to look like.